Hello guys, it's Casey the Dog, and this is Video Game Hunting, episode 36, part 1. Once again, I got Scott here that we just got doing a road view, just randomly talking, and got out of Game Exchange. And I actually came across, god dang it, trying to get it perfect. So, seems like it's pointing more to you than me, but it showed more me than you.
Because you got the record button there blocking me somewhat. That's probably half the reason. So.
But, so I got out, when we got in there, I found a variant of Blade of Steel's on the NES. It's a red copy. It's pretty much what it is. It's a player's choice. You know, after so many, after millions of copies sold, they release it. Well, Konami had a red label version of Blade of the Steel's, and this is the second time I ever came by it, and it's for $3. And I looked on eBay. It goes between like $12 to $15 or more. So obviously I did a good find. It's just as of utilizing the flip we hadn't yet, but stopped at what's called FTW game store, literally a quarter of a mile down the road. Awesome store. Just didn't see a bunch of things that I had. They had several NES games in its boxes, but I came across Doom 3 for the Xbox in a steelbook. I believe I picked up Resident Evil 6 because it was only $5 for the PS3. And then another game that I won't mention. It's a secret. And we're heading towards Claremore now. So, when we were doing our road view, we were just pretty much talking about, first was Power Rangers, then I was talking about old trailer shop I used to work for, then we moved on to Sears. I remember one of the things, now I remember part, I don't think this is the story I was going to bring up before. Well, I was going to bring up something, but I knew something funnier. But you were talking about those containers outside in the automotive parking lot. So this is one year, it was snow everywhere, snow and ice in the parking lot. And some asshole just bought a lawnmower, had to have it that day. So I was a schmuck who got nominated to go get it. So I was heading towards there with the dolly. I slipped on ice, and I landed on my arm like this against my ribs, and I bruised some of my ribs.
Ow.
So, amazingly, my arm wasn't hurt, but my ribs were. And, Matt, that used to work in was it RTV?
I forget.
He kind of split off of PMT. And those two things, you guys have no idea what it is. RTV is pretty much the return, the person who deals with the returns, and that he gets all the returns that can't do anything, he can't refurbish, and we just send it back out. Pretty much probably the manufacturer or whatever. and that was one job. And I believe he also worked on the PMT side, and what they pretty much do. Sometimes they'll go between one and the other, but PMT really does like more maintenance. They do more like they'll build like the grill. They'll build stuff like they'll build the floor samples all the time. So a lot of times the schmucks like on the dock and the MCA that I was, we would get suckered into building those shits all the time, especially the grills, you know? And I remember one time building a freaking pool table with I believe it had a concrete slab. That was a bitch to do. I hated it. It took forever to do. And it was just for a floor sample, and
Oh God, I hate pulling those floor samples.
yeah. And the deal, a lot of times we would sell the floor samples when the product got discontinued. And I'm sure a lot of times you'll get the a-holes like, well, make sure it's clean, and you have to deal with customers, you know, on it that moment. And then you have to stuff the floor sample in someone's vehicle. That I hate doing, you know.
Like I said, that was a pain. There was another time I remember. I think I mentioned this in the past. This couple came for the smallest treadmill we had, and came for the smallest treadmill we served, and they came in I think it was a 4-door Cavalier, and the girl with them just kept moaning and bitching about how she just wants to go home. She just wants to go home. And the guy goes, we'll figure something out. So I come back sometime later, and I noticed everything was gone. And one of the other guys that worked there at the time was walking down the sidewalk, and I says, well, if we hear about a body being found in one of our smallest treadmill boxes, we'll know what have happened.
Oh.
And one of our next to last not AP,
LP?
No, second in commands, one of them, he wanted me, this was of course long after you left. He wanted me to take this one of the largest treadmills we've got, and it's got the whole deal underneath it, and go across the sidewalk. Well, problem is there was like several cars there, and it was the most crappiest, snowiest day we had, and I knew full well if I did, it was going to fall on top of the car, one of those cars. So I managed to manhandle it through all that crap, through the snow and that. Because it was too tall. It was too tall to go through our doors, so I could take a shortcut around. So
I know there's sometimes we would try if it's a vehicle and it was so big, it's like, hey, pull up to the dock door.
yeah, that's what we started doing. That's actually what we started doing with a lot of the tractors and the heavier washers and dryers. We would have them back up, and we just boom, right on top of there. Which I don't know why we never did that in the beginning.
Oh, we had those wooden ramps, and they were just fine.
Oh, I love those wooden ramps, but somebody left them out.
And got stolen?
And they got stolen. So we had to start depending on those metal ones. But I miss those wooden ramps. Those were a
I
godsend.
didn't like lugging them.
I know, Grant, I know they were a pain in the ass to lug, but if I had a choice between those and those damn metal ones we had, I'd take those wooden ones for a minute. Pallet, that's what I was trying to think of.
I remember, like you were talking about when I first got started in the parking lot, where we were talking before. They were using those 3 containers, and then they would have like the service truck parked in front of the section because we would have a bunch of tractors in their crates still.
Oh god, those are various box.
And then you had a very small room to run the forklift to get the tractor down, and then sometimes you're lucky you didn't have to build it, you just load it up in there.
They ceased stacking those because in truth that was a safety hazard. They weren't supposed to stack them in the first place.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they really weren't supposed to stack them. And half the time, after a while, the forklift had stopped working altogether.
Well, I knew some of them, all you need to really do is put the steering wheel on and roll them off, but there's sometimes you had to put the freaking deck on.
Oh god, I hated that.
Yeah, I'm like, that was bullshit. And like,
and what made no sense is the size of the deck was the standard size, pretty much the size as a lot of other ones, which you didn't have to put the deck on, which made no sense. But me and another guy, I think it was like one time, neither one of us were licensed for the forklift, or there's something wrong with the forklift. I forget which. But we had to do the whole let's manual it off the top section. And we had our ramps set up, and my foot went through one of the top
pallet.
The top pallet. So, and it started rolling down, and the one guy who was sadly trying to help control it got knocked aside, and we thought he just partially skewed his wrist, but turned out it got worse. It was a lot worse than we thought. So that's also one of the reasons why they ceased having them stacked on top of each other.
I didn't remember why they stopped. I knew they wanted to get rid of those containers and have everything inside of the store. I mean, it's like one of those. I came in one day and the containers were gone. That's pretty much the way it was. Yeah. Because you had, like you said, you had several things. I know, like you said, the water heaters. They would put push lawnmowers in there. And loading those fucking lawnmowers in there sucked, asshole.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And eventually it got to be one of them was just junk crap.
Oh yeah, they'd get leaked on from from the container not being fully watertight, and because there'd be a leak, and then it's just been like on the bottom forever, and then it's like, that was the last one.
Yeah.
And then you get the guys like, it's like, we can open it up and see if it's damaged or not. I mean, like, there's no more.
I remember I went out there one time. I wasn't even paying attention. I reached into my pocket and I go, oh, that's cool. I got the same, because the key was similar to like a mailbox key for your apartment. So I reach in, I just grab whatever keys I felt. Like, oh, that's cool. I got a key similar to mine. And it took me a few seconds to go, those were my keys I pulled. Because I was looking, right, like I said, I looked like a mailbox key.
Someone got pulled.
And we had this steel cable that ran down them.
Oh, yeah.
And somebody between one night, between the security runs, managed to get there and steal one of our tractors.
Oh, we always had problems with that.
Yeah. So what we had to do is every night before we closed and every morning before we opened, we had to go back, we had to go up and down, make certain everything was there, and then...
Or you had to roll them in.
Oh, yeah. Luckily, we got to the standpoint we only had to roll inside the patio area.
Yeah, it was like you had to... They were rolled everywhere, and there was also the MCAs would have to help out, too. I'm like... I'll be like, fuck. And then it was just... And they would get stolen all the fucking times because every once in a while they'd be like, oh, well, just leave it out, you know? And then we come back and they'd be like, oh, like either someone cut through the lock or something.
That's why they started having that chain along the patio area. The patio area. Because you'd have to do each individually after a while.
Yeah.
Because they found out if you try to string it, it was a pain in the ass.
Oh, yeah. I hated stringing them. Because a lot of times I said, fuck it, just string it through the fucking steering wheel.
Yeah.
Because stringing it through, like, I don't know where exactly, it's been a while. I think they wanted you to do it through the hood or something.
Yeah, that little grill, that little grillish like bumper thing.
Yeah. But
then it was a pain in the ass because you'd have to find which side you wanted to be on, string it, pull it through, then string it back. I think that's why they started doing. I noticed because they cut the cable, or they felt after a while it'd be easier just doing it individually.
It was fun driving those every once in a while.
Yeah.
Like, I never really wanted to drive them up the ramp.
Oh, hell no. No, I wouldn't.
I think sometimes people would be on
They
it.
wanted us to, and we said that it was against our policy. And the zero turns, God, they were having one of those lawn and garden shows somewhere, and one of the lawn and garden guys was showing off. It wasn't at the store, it was at, I guess, at the fairgrounds or something, but he was showing somebody how to drive the zero turns, and apparently he ran over this one dude's foot twice.
Oh, I tell you one thing, those zero turns that Craftsman, we always had them returned.
The ones that we were having returned most of is when they started doing the zero turns on just the regular push motors.
I'm talking about the big zero turns.
I know, those two.
Those were always coming back. I was like, why are we selling them? They're not staying there. And you know what? Sometimes I wouldn't doubt maybe it wasn't all manufacturing faulty. I'm sure a lot of times they're like, well, we'll use it for the summer and then we'll sell it.
It was buyers. Yeah, that's all they were doing.
It's kind of like the whole thing where people go, they'll buy the big screen for the Super Bowl and they'll turn around.
And that's why we had that X number of bucks return policy after a while.
Because, people would do that and turn around and say, oh, we're not happy or it's not working properly. And it's funny, Super Bowl just happened.
Yeah. No coincidence whatsoever about that.
But, yeah.
What I think is funny the most. What I think is funny the most is while I was working there, I hardly talked about movies or TV shows. I started realizing this about like last year after I started my new job. We did Billy jokes, we did mom jokes and all that, but I hardly ever talk about TVs or TV shows or movies. At the new joint, that's half the time since what we all got get caught up in talking about is like either comic book movies, TV shows, and all this. And I thought, damn, I had all this stuff I could have talked to everybody about back in Sears, but I don't know why I just never did catch.
Well, you gotta remember a lot of those Marvel movies. Yeah, like Batman and the X-Men, but after it was like 2008 when they finally came out with Iron Man.
Yeah.
So,
but no, even Netflix shows. A lot of the guys are watching some of those and Amazon and Hulu.
oh shit.
I thought, damn, if I knew this, I would have been yakking up a storm at Sears as well.
Because you're there from the point, like,
From 02 to 19, I was.
Yeah, but from like a couple months after I started
Yeah.
to when they went into the ground.
Yep. And everybody kept on saying, maybe we should sell Scott as part of the fixtures.
He's been here for so long.
One of the guys who came to pick a lot of our fixtures up, he was actually offering me a job.
Oh,
To
really?
be able to do something, yeah. But he just gave me the weirdest vibe.
Why?
I just said, he did. He just gave me this weird vibe. And, was it Beverly? It was Beverly. She was tasked to driving the U-Haul over to his place. And something was going funky with the car that he had. And for a few minutes, I'm thinking, I'm glad I came with, because he did. He just gave me the strangest vibrations.
Oh gosh.
But no, that Biomutant, it is quite good. I gotta upgrade that little fist thing, that little fist glove thing that I've got. I found that out when I was trying to break through this one wall. It says, you gotta be a level 2. So I gotta look up and see how I upgrade that glove. But I'm enjoying it.
Just trying to, like, kind of like, once how this highway's just stayed straight,
Yeah.
and you kind of like zone out, and you're kind of like
Yep.
forget about all about.
Driver's hypnosis, I remember that in school.
I'd be like, okay, because there's 2 overpasses that almost look identical. That if you get off the wrong one, we had that problem, right? Where we were like chasing it down forever.
Yep.
Fuck. Oh gosh. I'm almost need like something to wake me up. I might get like a mocha frappe. Fucking pot stores. Pot stores fucking
Yeah.
everywhere.
They're taking up all those vape stores, pretty much.
Oh yeah, because they don't have to do too much to turn over. They're like, oh, you just need to switch over. Honestly, they had to get the marijuana.
Get the little essential oil thing.
Well, be licensed to sell.
First it was cell phones, then it was vape stores, now it's pot, so what's the next? What's the next fad that's going to happen?
Tell you one thing, that gosh, the shop I work at right now, trailers, especially during the summer, we would get these reefers, what's called, and it's funny, it's called reefers. It's trailers with a refrigerated units on it, but in term it's called reefers. So they would haul pot. And you open the doors, you're
I bet.
oh my god, you can smell it.
You got to contact high.
I'd be like, oh my god.
Well, I won't mention the buddy who does it, but he does an iVlog music show. And he's got 2 or 3 growing, and right now one of them, for whatever reason, he's done nothing different, but one of them is sort of like a squatty plant, and he doesn't know what happened. Whenever you're watching the iVlog shows, a lot of times you'll see these. You got to pay for the cameras. You got these 5 little spots, and when you become, and you can get for like for a month or for a year for a certain amount. So you can get these little spots. Every now and then you see somebody pull over the old stuff and go. I would do it on Vaughn Live, but because I got a music show that I do occasionally on iVlog, because I've been a little bit lazy, very much so far. I do it on Vaughn, but it refreshes too much when I'm casting. I would do it on Cam Up, but it slows my computer up. I don't know what it is about Cam Up, but it's just whenever I did it there, it slowed up my camera. I even tried going with and without simulcasting on another channel, and it still would do the same.
You know, it's funny you said Vaughn. It reminded me of this one dude that I worked with. His name was Vaughn.
Yeah.
And he worked in the military, and but he was not the brightest bulb in the pack.
I've had a few of those. I've had a few of those from time to time.
What?
You'll catch it when you catch the reprint.
But yeah, he was, and this. I don't know why I didn't say this earlier, but when I was working at J.V. Hunt, and they were at the old shop that I used to, they were working on the same area that I was working at the old cannon shop I used to work at.
Yeah.
It was just coincidental. I mean, J.V. Hunt moved to that same area. And so we're on the same rail yard with my old job. And I went to the Home Depot warehouse while he's going around to the side of the road rail yard.
Yeah.
And going around checking out these chassis on these container units. And I think I was hurt one day, and I could only do minor stuff because I had a real bad muscle that was hurt. And so I was helping them out. And a lot of times I'll be like, he would do like a couple real quick inspections, and then he goes in and he's on his phone with, I guess, his ex-wife, his girlfriend, or whatever, and forever, and then like, dude, you're gonna get fucking in trouble. And then, well,
that's what I noticed at my new job. I mean, I turn around and they're on their phones constantly. Where at Sears, you just glance at your phone just for a few seconds, and it's like, ring. Why are you on your phone?
Exactly. But I got laid off because I got a bum drug test on me.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, they were putting 2 people at a time in a room getting hair samples. So,
which they shouldn't have done.
no, they should have just brought 1 person in at a time, not 2. Because I've been told the same company did the drug test, accidentally swapped samples. But I heard later on he got fired because he was doing laps around the rail yard, not doing anything. I was like, I'm not shocked that he got fired. I figured he'd get fired long before I did.
Yeah.
But no, but I had and honestly, I was about to get kicked off the Home Depot yard because a bunch of truck drivers, they got their butts hurt, feelings hurt, because they didn't kiss their ass and do stuff for free. Like, I literally told this one dude, like, wanted me to do something I don't get time towards.
Yeah.
And I told him, do you work for free? He's like, no. Guess what? I don't either. I'm like, why? It's not my job. If I can't get time for it, why should I do it?
Yeah, I don't blame you.
So they're having their truck drivers roundtable discussion. One dude brought up, oh, Casey's an asshole. And then a bunch of people started, yeah, he's a dick. And eventually they're about to kick me off the yard before I got laid off because of the bum drug test. It's kind of interesting that worked out. I could have sued JP Hunt.
Yeah, because that's wrongful termination.
Yeah, especially I had proof. I went, asked my manager, I was saying, hey, I want to do a drug test because I shouldn't have failed. So he's like, well, you gotta do an independent drug test. We're not gonna pay for it. He's like, fine, wherever. I'll go find one. And he's like, oh, it's gotta be a hair test. I'm like, okay. So I go find the hair test. Got back like a week later or so, and I passed. And I send that information. And they're like, well, actually, you're supposed to go through this. We're supposed to take a sample of the same sample. I'm like, hold on, I'm like, that's stupid because you guys got a bad sample. Why would I want you to test the same sample again?
Yeah, because the substance would still be in that same hair follicle.
Yeah. They had sample B, but they